Hey everybody, welcome back. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I was out of town, and then my computer done died. And I got me a new spiffy one that has cleaner imagery on the screen, and it's faster. And you don't hear this crap. You want to hear me talk about comic books. Well, these are my random comics pulled from the spinner rack. Okay, I'll stop moving it. Right before Jack Kirby passed away, Topps Comics, part of Topps trading cards, they expanded to the comics when the boom was happening in the early 90s. And what they did is they took a lot of Kirby's just one-off characters, and they would have other artists expand on it, and like the Secret City, which ties in with all this, is done by Steve Ditko and I can't remember who. But in this one, Eric Larson, who's always generous with Savage Dragon. I mean, he had, a Destroyer Duck. He did, Megaton Man. So, but get this. Together again, Rascally Roy Thomas, Groovy Gary Frederick, Darling Dick Ayers, and Big John Severin. Wahoo indeed. So, I actually bought all the issues. Some of them weren't as good as others. I like the Night Glider one that was done by Don Heck. This was originally polybagged, as everything was back then, with a chromium Kirby card. Isn't that spiffy? I love it. Okay, now we're going to get right down to it and see some, some early Bronze Age stuff. See, there you go, everybody. And here's the ridiculous thing. It's going like they were going all out, creating all these different books that tie in together, which was really done a lot in like every book. And this probably fell by the wayside, but you had top people. You had Walt Simonson did a spectacular cover for a zero issue. Yes, they had a zero issue. So the art's looking really good, and a lot of it is John Severin, because Dick Ayers' rendering hadn't been that strong in a long time. So I just thought it was great that it would hook up again. It comes from down below. I like that panel there where his head and his hands just floating in the air. I mean, Ayers really stepped up. I mean, this was really strong stuff. Okay, so he's got to learn how to focus. So they're beating up on this guy, these drug dealers, and he's so confused. He's like, how strange, the violence of this man, not like that of my brothers. So he's just standing there like a dumbass. Well, more like an ignorant guy. Well, one of the main characters, the second main character, he starts kicking some ass. Sees a blade go by, grabs a bench, throws it. He basically has the same gift as Bullseye. It's like he can always make anything into a weapon and throw it, except he's got super strength. I mean, he could take even bigger stuff. So, these little inserts are just a pain in the ass. I might just take this one out. Because like I said, I already opened the bag and got the cart. And it's not really worth anything anyway. These are cheap books to grab. And it's just really got a great job. Here they go. Who's that hairy green hand? Why, it's the dragon. And he's like this, he's a cop in Chicago. And he's like, hey, what are you doing on my turf? You're causing, problems and disturbance. But he's like, come back here, you chicken bastard. Well, get rid of this thing now. Inserts. Oof. Okay. But really, really strong stuff. And I love this. Okay, this creation comes about it was a one drawing of Jack Kirby. And I don't know if he's called Death Flash or something else, but they gave him Death Flash the name. Now, I don't envy Ayers trying to turn this character around with the full body shot, because Kirby didn't do like a turnaround to the left, to the right, to the back. So that must have been the hardest part of the book. And this part I love. He picks up some wet cement, slows him down, gobs him. It's tremendous fun. This is like my favorite one of all of them. Well, Night Glider is a close. That's one Don Heck drew, and this woman here, and he's always been great at drawing women. Just a natural state. Not natural state, but they walk different. They talk when you're drawing them in a comic. There's different postures. There's little details a lot of artists don't get, but Don Heck gets it. Mike Allred gets it. That kind of stuff. So, Justice League, baby. Yes, indeedy. Yeah. There. Okay. You got a little bit of a moire pattern on the screen here because there's Zipatone being used on the cover, but what a cover it is. What a cover. And what's funny is Kevin McGuire, he came around like 87, and he I'd say he influenced a ton of people, like including Adam Hughes, and just so many I can't think of right now, but Terry Dodson and others who became other Adam Hughes type style artists. And he just got it's like he knows how to do every bone structure of the face, and it's like it's never a wrong. Faces are hard to do, and this book basically calls for a lot of headshots because usually they talk, they jibber jabber a lot and tell jokes and go wow ha ha ha, but this one actually has stuff going on. I do that. That's a great panel there. So and Mr. Miracle, I loved him being in there. So you get some good stuff going on here. And Batman's always like disapproving. Wait, Guy Neutral loses things. Yes, sir, Batman, sir. Right away, sir. Hey, I thought I was in charge here. You were. And so what happened is Guy Gardner got hit on the head, and he turned from a real shithead, obnoxious dude into a real nice, soft-spoken fella. Captain Atom, I was never big on him. I mean, at least that look. The Ditko early ones were the best. Look at that face. You can't fake that shit. You gotta know how every part of the face works. I would have loved. James DeMatteis DeMatteis, he got to do the dialogue. It was basically the Stan and Jack thing, except Jim was more involved. And can you imagine seeing those faces by Kevin McGuire and saying, I get to write the words that are coming out of that crazy mouth, and the faces are so unique. Metron. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now Dazzler. This, if my memory serves me well, this was Marvel's very first direct market comic book, only. You couldn't get this on the newsstands. You had to go to a comic book shop to get them, or special order them. Like there was Mile High Comics and there was Westfield Comics, and they did subscriptions, across the country. It was snail mail, but this was the very first only in direct market, and I love that cover. Bob Larkin, God, he did so much great stuff in the 70s. He did a bunch of novels, Marvel novels that came out, prose novels, but he did the covers, and he also did some for what was it, a Doctor Strange collection, and Incredible Hulk one from Fireside Books. But he's just always impressive. Well, it starts off with I can't remember who actually invented. Well, Tom DeFalco writes, John Romita Jr. pencils, Alfredo Alcala, Glennis Ween, Joe Rosen, and Louise Jones, editor. And so she's being chased. Oh, it's conceived by. I forgot all about this. Conceived by this. Okay, my Alice Donneville, John Romita Jr., and Jim Shooter with some help from Stan Lee, Al Milgrom, Roger Stern, and Tom DeFalco. What they were going to do, they really had high hopes for her. She appeared in the X-Men for like an issue, and they really, she was a mutant. She could turn sound into bright light, just dazzling stars, hence the name. And they were going to try, Marvel's going to try and do a TV movie or a movie based on this character, and she was originally called the Disco Dazzler, but by this time it was 1980. You know, comics were always behind the trends back then because they usually got published 3 months in advance. So she puts on her little skates and she dazzles the shit out of these thugs. And Spider-Man shows up. And it's always good to like pack a bunch of guest stars in there. Oh, look at that lighting. It's so simple, but it's perfect. And I dig Alfredo Alcala. It's such an interesting mashup between him and John Romita Jr. because he's got that definitive Spider-Man pose, and he's got all the classic Marvel styles. And she goes back to her like apartment. Looks a little big for someone in New York City, but that's okay. I'm sure it's like a cutaway for like a kitchenette. That's what it sort of looks like. And you know, she's kind of dead broke, and she was like, "I'm going to make myself some tomato soup, but I can't even afford a bottle of ketchup." You know, so she, you know, she's basically giving up safety to like. She's basically trying it on her own, you know. There was a lot of people in the 70s that did that, like that went to CBGBs, you know, of course the Ramones and Blondie and so many others. I can't think of a bunch of other guys, but they lived like on one mattress in some, you know, apartment that had no other furniture, just a lot of stuff. So, you know, that's sort of what somebody might have had in mind. So that's really cool. Remember when the X-Men were cool? They would like do stuff. A long, long time ago. Yeah. So Colossus is an ass. He's expecting a call from Elizabeth, the girl he was dating, and they crash together. And yeah, she changes her mind. They're like, oh, you know. She had an impulse to call the X-Men, but she changed her mind because she's like, I can't let them see I'm a sad sack. And it's a school dance, a flashback where she's a teen, and all of a sudden she gets this dazzling power, her mutant power. Goes, look at all those things. That's so cool. I remember those days. I remember them. So these punk asses get in there. And she dazzles the living hell out of them. But she feels like she's a freak. She's a monster. Because it's just such a strange, you know, it's very odd. It's disturbing to her because nothing like that has ever happened. I mean, if you got a superpower, you know, you might think, oh, I'm going to be a big ship. But frankly, you'd probably be worried about, like, are these powers going to kill me? Am I going to... You know, people going to hunt me down, or am I going to be able to have a moment's peace? There's a lot of things to consider. That's what I liked about DeFalco's writing in this. He considers that now. Oh boy, up in Asgard, you got you some Alcala inks that are just perfect. Perfect, I say. And there's the Enchantress. Another great image. You know, Romita Jr. did a great layout, and Alcala just did the rest, and it was a beautiful matchup. And she turns this guy into a tree just because she's a bitch. So I just really like this. And for some reason, she wants Dazzler. She wants to take her powers away. It's so weird. I think it's just a printing mistake. There's no color on these pages. And so anyway, Dazzler is supposed to have this big get-together with superheroes. I don't know how they got in touch. So I get for biting my nails like a moron. Okay. Then we see the Avengers. Great era. I forgot I forgot to go back to this. Give me a second. Hang in there, everybody. Okay. There was a scene where it must be in the next issue. Well, that's it for now. And you know what? I liked it a lot. Bought the second issue. Bought the third issue. No, I did not. I looked at it on the stands, and very quickly, this title to me became a huge joke. Because in the in the third or fourth issue, she faced off Doctor Doom. In like issue 10, she faced Terrax, the Herald of Galactus, and then she faced Galactus. I'm like, you know what? You ain't all that yet. It's like, why shoot for the sky so soon? But this book somehow managed 40 issues. I don't know how. And I don't know. But there's Marvel Masterworks reprinting the whole series, which strikes me as insane, but Micronauts. Now, Micronauts, about half a year prior, maybe a year prior, they went direct sales only. They were a newsstand book, and the experiment was Micronauts, Moon Knight, and Kazar, whatever. They went direct market only, and it meant no ads. Beautiful stuff. The book had its ups and downs. First issue was great with gold, of course, the first year. Second year was kind of rough, and then Pat Broderick kicked some major ass. And then there's a few other issues of fill-in artists. Then it was Gil Kane, but he was inked by Danny Bulanati, and it just was not a good match because Bulanati was really heavy-handed with it. But then along came this young guy named Butch Geiss, who later became Jackson Geiss. Not of his own making. Jim Shooter just said, what's your real name? He goes, Jackson. He goes, well, from now on you'll be Jackson. That's how odd Shooter could be. But Bill Mantlo, Butch Geiss, he's penciling and inking himself. And I never get tired of this. Never, ever, 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 ever. Group shots. I mean, that was usually a DC thing for Justice League. And Crier is just a friggin' badass. Biotron. And Marionette, the blonde gal, she was created solely for the comic. She goes to see Commander Rand, who is also known as Time Traveler, and he's he's in this trance. He's transcend the physical restraints of his flesh, and again become one with the awesome Enigma Force. And it's he's got his head up his ass and in the clouds, and everyone's Marie's kind of pissed off at him. She's like, okay, screw you. It's we're just going to go on and keep doing what we're doing. And Baron Karza had returned to issue 50. He's too cool a villain to kill permanently. Huntar, new member. How about that? So it becomes one of those 30s mob movies, which Kirby did with his original FF run, but this doesn't swipe anything from it. It's just a whole different. And he gave Bug these great big feet and great big hands. He really made him look more like a bug than like a human with those shapes. Oh, that's so good. And the first volume. Oh, there we go. There's sort of your I can't think what the guy's name is. Shay. So they go undercover. The Micronauts marble up. I totally love it. They look slick. Well, I mean, yeah, they're doing a omnibus of the first 2 years or so, and then there'll probably be another volume because they've already announced a third ROM omnibus. Beautiful stuff. Oh, and by the way, in the direct-only market, like I said, there's no ads, and Butch Geiss did a ton of great back covers, just adding stuff. He was clearly having a lot of fun. So, here we go. The Hulk. Herb Trimpe, probably at his, I mean, not his peak. I'm just saying, he depends on who inks him and depends on how much time he has. He was just very prolific. He did 2 books a month, and sometimes you hit it over the fence, sometimes you don't, but it looks good enough anyway. I miss that logo because it looks like a big old billboard. But but this one, Trimpe pencils and inks himself, and it's magnificent. It is magnificent. Jack Abel was also, he was a great inker on it too, but sometimes Herb would have time to do his own inking. Len Wein and his wife, Glynis Wein, colorist, She was originally Glynis Oliver, and I don't know if they stayed married, but that's not important. Not the least bit important. But look at that. That's just wonderful stuff. Great story. In fact, good storytelling is when you could take away all the words and still completely understand what's going on. And he turns back to Banner. He does the old, sweeping as a janitor in a lab. I mean, it's been done a lot, and I think Peter David and Dale Keown did it as well as some other earlier issue of the Hulk. And they're like, hey, they finally learn who he is. Guilty as charged, because he found a flaw, and they're like, what does a janitor know? You never know. You might read books on weekends. There we go, Zax. Love that character. So I'd like to eat Zaxby's and read about Zax. So, I know, lame-o. So, anyway, there was a character like him called the Blip that came out during the Kirby Monster era, but it was a lot more alien-looking. This one's has more proportions of a human being. He appeared like once before with an issue of Hawkeye, and he's a cool, I dig him. But there's so much going on. Whoa, man, how about that? What a way to go. That looks very painful. So, what's weird is she's like, the strain, the tension thing, it's told, I'm changing, but I must. I'm like, no, you must, dummy. You're going to die. Some great imagery here. And even with these packed panels, he really, it's not filler. It's just, I forgot to tell you, I did a dry run of this, and I cut out the Marvel value stamp. And I thought, well, how do I show it in a video? So I do it to be a goofball. Let me see if there's anybody noteworthy. I think Bob Roadeye is Rob Roadeye, who became a writer for some comics. I don't know. So he does the old, King Kong bit. Now, why she doesn't flash fry in his hands? How does he have solidity enough to not burn everything? How does he climb up the wall? There's a lot of suspension of disbelief. So the rain kicks in, and he goes, Hulk hates water from sky. So Hulk will take girl from monster like Hulk promised, human called Mark, and then Hulk will smash stupid water. And check out like the three, these lines with white out to indicate like the wind and such. Beautiful, 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 and it's all trimpy. Now here's the thing. Okay, a major bit of suspending disbelief. It's raining out, and he's like this electric guy. So really, he should have short-circuited a while back. And but where's the fun in that? He picks him up, and he tosses him with the guy catches on. He's going, now Hulk will take girl, and girl belongs to Zax. Love that flip. That face is great too. It's like stupefied without being stupid looking. So anyway, something happens where a helicopter has this cable that goes on Zax and causes him to fry and fall apart. And Hulk helps his new friend. And I love that's such a Kirby ending. That's such a beautiful Kirby ending. But like I said, there's a lot. I love this. I loved it when it came out. I still love it. Good stuff. So anyway, it's good. It's good to be back, and I hope you enjoy. And if you have any comments below, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share with somebody who loves old comics. And if you have any information that I'm missing, feel free to add anything in the comment section. And if you disagree with something I've done, that's cool too. I've never ever had the need to delete any comments. And you can even tell me where you were when you bought one of these comics. Like there's a lot of things like that I think is great when you're into classic comics. And I'll be back soon.